Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cinepresto. Today, I have a little special treat for you guys. Today, I'll be going a little bit over the Love Boat Taipei event that we had a few weeks ago. The reason why I want to go through this is because this is a great example of how you can create something during quarantine with limitations. I want to go over the top 3 tips that I've learned throughout that process and maybe share that with you in case you want to create anything over quarantine, okay? So, the first step, definitely, is to have a solid idea, script, and team. Now, those things sound pretty self-explanatory, but in my case, I was lucky enough to actually have friends and crewmates that I've worked with before that I'd always wanted to work with on another project. This includes our leading lady, Christy, over here, who we have in the beginning, and pretty much everyone on the team who just was dedicated throughout the entire process. They basically worked tirelessly with me to make sure this event would go off without a hitch. The idea came from a conversation I had with the author Abigail Hing Wen, and that kind of sprouted into this whole idea of how can we turn this book of yours into something, take that to the next step, right? How can we elevate that beyond the standard table read? Because a lot of other actors and whatnot have been doing regular table reads. How can we take that to the next step by adding a lot of effects and just try to make the overall experience more immersive, as well as to really sell people on the authenticity of it, which I will get back to later. Um, when it came to actually producing it, this leads into my second point. It was really about the limitation and turning that into like a way that we could actually properly tell the story with. So we ended up doing a lot of was actually utilizing everything that we could do just to shoot from home and to make that very try to blend that in as best as possible. So as you can see here in this scene, we have a scene between Ever as well as her mother. They were basically in different locations, obviously. We shot the whole thing under quarantine guidelines. That means that everyone was just shooting stuff from home. I'm going to play a little bit of that right now for you guys. The full link to this whole show is obviously somewhere on my channel. I'll link it in the description. You guys can check out the full show. We put a lot of effort in to make this really good. So.
Are you wearing makeup?
Uh, just a little, Mom. I'm late to meet Megan. She's at the field already.
Yes, but I need to tell you.
So what I'd like to point out in this little tiny scene is that there was already like around 4 cuts for this whole segment, and the amount of work that went just into making that little cut, flow very well was like just very. It was just very detailed in order to make that happen. So what we did is that we actually had every single actor record from their side, pretty much. We organized the document to allow everyone to have props that were necessary for each scene. So in the book, this calls for the mom having this newspaper, which tells her about the Love Boat program, which she is trying to convey to Ever. And then lastly, that little detail there, which we kind of found out while we were shooting, was that, okay, well, her sister is supposed to help distract her mom from the conversation there to help Ever get away. So how can we really convey that? I originally wanted to muffle her audio, but it turns out that using the audio from one of the other takes, because we had every actor on together at the same time over a call, so that way they could interact with each other and make that connection feel very real. We actually utilized that audio separately and then had that in the background. It was already pre-muffled thanks to it coming over through the internet, and that made that audio sound really tight. That little crash sound effect was actually done in post as well. So we added that, we found that, and made sure that sounded really good. So. And then we cut
I spilled the brown sugar.
to her so that people
You
know,
didn't hurt
okay, there is
yourself.
somebody else in another room
No,
somewhere.
nothing broke.
Everything okay?
Grab the broom, will you?
Sorry, I gotta run.
Ever, I need to tell you something. This summer.
Sorry, Mom. I'm so late. Bye.
So this was a little bit of a thing that we also tried to figure out too, which is how could we sell the idea that all these characters are still moving around and yet they're in the same location constantly, right? So what we did was we had her leave that room. She left the house, and then we had her come over here, and then did the lighting a little different to make it feel
Megan,
like
you
she
got
went
out.
outside in order
Hey.
to talk to her friend Ever.
Megan.
I mean her friend
Hurry up
Skylar,
and
which is-
change.
or
Psych
Megan. Megan is played by Skylar. Lastly, I want to also bring in that element of what I had mentioned for the last 2 points, which is authenticity. Authenticity really does count for everything in a production like this. And to make sure that it still feels like you guys are shooting in place, you guys are shooting together, even though you guys are sheltered in place. So I'm going to point out over here in this scene here was we got very fortunate in the way we shot this
Do I smell?
next scene over here,
He
scene
shoves
4.
his phone into his
Pretty much know all
pocket
the
and
scenes
makes
by
a
name at this
fist
point.
that pops his vein out on his tan
What
arm.
we had done was we had done it
What the
pretty
heck
much the
is his
same way. We
hurry
shot
anyways?
everything simultaneously, but while having these actors all in different locations. And to really sell the authenticity for this scene, I chose to play this in the 2-shot. The idea was that we play this in the 2-shot largely to show that these two are pretty much getting to be on the same page.
Oh my god, ever. That Xavier was the hottest guy I've ever seen.
He's taken already.
Taken? 1 out of
So that
4
little
relationships
intro shot
break up
done by
because of
Winnie
love,
was
Wow.
excellent.
Really?
It helped to really sell that she had just kind of gotten into the room, and the idea that, oh yeah, they just arrived here at this new place, and they're both very excited, right? So
Well, my cousin was
the
dating
scene starts
someone,
off
and
with
she
shot
never got
reverse shot right here.
registration, and they've been together since. I mean, they're probably gonna get
Then-
married later. I think this week. I'm not sure, but I'll definitely check in. I mean, so what music do you listen to?
Winnie was really good. She improv a lot.
I love musicals. Most of my other classmates are into rock or hip hop, metal, goth stuff.
Oh, what's your favorite?
Lots. Anything Disney, Les Miserables, Phantom of the Opera. Oh, my best friend and I have watched The Greatest Showman about half a dozen times.
What if we rewrite the stars? I adore The Greatest Showman. When Philip ran into the burning building after Anne, I about died.
Oh, I love to trapeze dance. When she's telling him they're impossible.
The same songwriters did La La Land.
Huh, really? Cool that she knew that. She knows so many things I don't.
I've seen Pretty
So
Women.
what we did here was that we really gave enough time and space in between when they're actually shooting this, so that way there'd be room for those reactions and whatnot. And I think the timing is tweaked a little bit. Whenever it goes into a closer shot, I was actually adjusting the timing on the reactions to make sure that they felt very natural. And the reason why I chose to end up leaving a lot of it in the 2-shot, like I mentioned, was to really try to lend itself to that authenticity. I really do want it. I really did want this to feel like two young 18-year-old girls who were just getting to know each other, like the new roommate situation. If you've ever had a situation like that, you'll completely understand where these two characters are coming from. And I think by doing that, in turn, it basically allowed these actors a lot of freedom to actually run some lines. Winnie actually improv one of those lines back there to make it feel a little more natural too. It worked out pretty well, I'd say. Of course, there is like room for more creative stuff like this, for when she was like sharing her list and whatnot. But overall, like I mentioned, you really just want to try to find something as real as possible to really have grounded. I think that the times that we're in right now are very confusing and just very much anxiety-inducing period of time for people that are creative. Like, I've seen a lot of people either choose to leave the creative industries or to actually come to me to ask for advice for what they can do next. So I hope that this video will share a little bit about what I've been able to do in quarantine time. I've put on a lot of other events, and I've got another one coming on Wednesday, so I have to do this video. It's kind of rushed, and this is just something that I could quickly go through and hopefully give tips to my viewers and whatnot, and if they want to create something like this. Great ideas include, how about you guys shoot an entire short film based off just phone calls? Like, for example, like, you know, I'm on the phone with somebody, and then somewhere else, somebody is also responding back over the phone, and then you have a great excuse to cut it and then shoot it the same way that I just shot something, right? So there are a lot of suggestions like that. Depending on how much effort you want to put in there, you can really go all out with something like this. We created basically a 40-minute short film here. We have like even this like graphic was created by our producer Corrine, who also played the mother in the earlier scene. She did a great job with everything. Yeah. So overall, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was a little bit of a peek into the process that went behind making the Love Boat Taipei table read film. We really labeled and branded this as like the first thing ever of its kind, and really wanted to get a chance to share just you know, the fact that we were getting a lot of stuff done creatively, even though we were stuck in very uncertain times, like I mentioned. So I hope you guys, if you haven't seen it, go ahead and give it a chance and watch it. It's on the channel already. I'll link it in the description. If you've already seen it, let me know what you guys think, because I am very curious to hear the comments that you guys have. We had a lot of positive reception during our live event, And we are currently sending this out to a lot of different people. So hopefully this catches the right eyes. And I hope to see you guys in the next video. Thanks for tuning in to Cinepresto. I'll see you tomorrow.